Hi, hello everyone. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to welcome to today's event about inspiring. Hi, welcome to okay. Hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to today's SCA and GDSC event on inspiring inclusion. Events promise to be insight-filled, engaging. Please react in the comment section if you can hear me. Okay. So, hi everyone. Please, if you can hear me, please can you react in the comment section. You can just send a thumbs up so I'll know I'm speaking to people. It's really good to be here, and I hope everyone is having a good day. So, our keynote speaker for today is Arit Amana. She is a mother, a software engineer, and she has gained a lot of experience. At the age of 38, she became a software engineer after being a homemaker with two kids for over 6 years and a public health analyst before being before that. She has worked for both enterprise and start enterprise. So, just good day, everyone. Welcome once again to today's IWD International Women's Day event by SC and Google Developer Students Club of Medilag. So, today apart from welcoming everybody here, I want to introduce our keynote speaker, which is Arit Amana. She, she's a software engineer. She's a public health analyst, a mother, and she's just an amazing person. Before becoming a software engineer, she has worked as a public health analyst for over 6 years. She has been homemaker, homemaker with two kids for 6 years, an analyst before that. She has worked for both She has worked for both enterprise organizations and nimble startups. Arit focuses on delivering features intended for ultra-high volume use. She she focuses on building products for that will serve larger a larger purpose. She's also active in the tech community and she supports women looking to start their engineering careers, particularly black women and mothers. Hi, so can just start the game till get.
Hi everyone, hi ladies. Good evening. So we are moderator just shared with us give us an introduction of our keynote speaker, and she will be joining us soon. Um, we are currently experiencing big technical glitch, but like just to be sure, you guys are following. Please, can you just like react in the comment section? Let's just know that you are here. Okay. So, all right, the speaker is here now.
Hello, She Code Africa, Unilag, Medilag. Congratulations on this successful event. Thank you for everything that you're doing for women in tech. I applaud you, I salute you. I'm also grateful to be chosen to be the keynote speaker for this event. Thank you so much for having me. So, we are talking on building a rewarding career path in tech. Now, this is a topic I can speak on literally from my sleep because that has been the story of my life. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to share my thoughts and my opinions on how women can build a rewarding career path in tech. I'm going to pull from my tech journey. And from my tech journey, the point is not that your journey should be like mine. The point is, what can we learn from my journey and what points can we apply to our own unique journeys in tech? So many of you know that I learned how to code at age of 37. At 37, I was a mother of two. My children were quite young at the time. And I learned how to code at 37. And let me tell you, it was one of the most difficult undertakings of my life, one of the hardest things I've ever done, primarily because learning to code, and tech is not just code, let me just say that, okay? So we have product management, we have product design, we have graphic design, we have project management, we have cybersecurity, we have data, we have analysts, we have scientists in data. So tech is a broad field. I'm a software engineer in tech, and the point I'm making is that it was so difficult to train my brain to think in terms of code. That was the hardest thing about that process, learning how to code. And so the first point I want to make is building a career path in tech might be the hardest thing you've ever attempted in your life, particularly if you're like me and you're coming from something else, right? So some of you may be students and you're starting out your career life in tech, but there's some of us that did something prior and we're making the switch. We're making the pivot into tech. Regardless of how you get into tech, it's going to be hard. And so the first thing I would share is expect it to be hard. And I think if you start with the expectation that this is going to be hard, this is going to be difficult, then when you experience the difficulty, when you experience the challenge, you have actually prepared your mind and you have prepared your spirit for how hard it is. And so you are less likely to quit. It's those of us that expect things to be easy. Those of us actually we feel more of a pressure to quit when things get hard. So the first point there is expect it to be hard. Expect it to be difficult. Expect it to require you to sacrifice other things. In my case, I would say like from 7 p.m. to about 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. every single day, I was focused on my courses. I was in a coding boot camp. And so that's a good 4 to 5 hours every single day. And this is as a mother of 2 young children. So there's going to be time sacrifice. There's going to be energy sacrifice. And I know some of you are like, oh, wow, she started right out the gate telling us how hard it's going to be, because that is the truth. If getting into tech was easy, everyone would do it, right? Everyone would do it. And so the reason why everyone doesn't do it is because it is hard. And so expect it to be hard, expect it to require sacrifices in terms of time, in terms of focus, in terms of energy, okay? After learning how to code, meaning I graduated my boot camp and I had some specific skills under my belt, the next step was landing a job, okay? And this brings me to my second point. Do not put off building your network. In fact, I would even advise that you build your network while you are learning, whether you're learning on your own, self-taught, or you've joined a program, a boot camp. I know SCAUnilag Africa has some amazing initiatives that they make available to their members. Start building your network at the very beginning, because the reality is tech is network driven. A lot of the opportunities in tech are network driven. And when you leverage your network to move ahead, you end up being more successful than if, excuse the expression, you're trying to brute force your way into tech, right? And that becomes a lot more important, this networking point, when you are now applying for jobs, because the reality is human beings like to deal, quote unquote, with the devil they know, okay? And so when you have the benefit of someone recommending you or referring you for a role, chances are you are at least going to get that first and maybe even second interview. Whereas you have others who do not have that network connection, battling to even get a callback on the strength of their resume and their LinkedIn. Your resume, your LinkedIn, and other professional profiles, your portfolio, those pieces of information are important. But when you have, in addition, a network connection, that could be just what it takes to get you from the need to call them back pile to have scheduled an interview with them pile, okay? Networking is so important. And let me just cover real quickly what I consider networking to be. Making connections, right? Making connections. Social media has made it, quite easy. You can follow and follow back. You can interact with people's content, leave comments. On Twitter, you can quote someone's comment. Interacting with people's content is a good way to put yourself on their radar, right? After some time, they begin to notice, oh, this person interacts regularly with my content. And so when the time comes to send them a direct message or to send them an email, they are more likely to pay attention to you and want to work with you. Why? Because they have seen you regularly interacting with their content. And so interacting with content and being responsive is one of the key ways to build network connections with people. Okay, definitely events like what SCAunilag is putting on today, attending events. One benefit, I think, that came out of the pandemic that we all went through and experienced is a lot of events have now gone virtual. And so you don't necessarily have to always go for in-person, right? A lot of events are now virtual, and virtual events are an amazing way to network with people. Many virtual events allow you to have like a meeting room where you can exchange information, or they may provide like a web page with people's information, follow, connect, save emails. Those are very powerful ways to network. And one thing I say about networking is it is something you do before you need it, okay? You build your network before you need your network, right? And so you might be learning, you might be in boot camp right now, you're still building your skills. Network. Don't tell yourself, oh, I need to be ready. No, you don't need to be ready. Network now. What do I say to people? Exactly what you are. I'm a student, I'm learning, I'm growing my network. These are my ambitions. This is what I want to do in my tech career. And those are the sort of things that you can share with the people that you're networking with, okay? The reason I'm talking about networking is because when I went for my first job as an engineer, I had zero network. I had zero network. And so I was dependent only on resume, LinkedIn profile, and just hoping that there was enough in my resume and my profiles to get someone to respond and say, hey, we want to have an interview with you, okay? Typically, the next step is interviewing. And for me, my interview process for my very first job in tech was the most challenging and demoralizing time in the whole process, particularly because of the rejections. Let's talk about rejections, okay? Rejection is a part of life. And when it comes to your tech career, rejection is your friend, okay? It is such a negative thing to experience, and many of us react to rejection with retreat. We react to rejection with second guessing ourselves and beginning to believe that not only are we not good enough, but we do not deserve what we have worked so hard to accomplish. And that is the last thing you want to do. Rejection is actually your friend. Let's talk about how rejection can empower your tech career, okay? First of all, feedback. Not everyone that rejects you, either in the job search process, or it could be something else. It could be you're applying to a program, an upskill program, it could be anything. Not everyone who rejects you is willing or able to give you feedback, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't ask, okay? So whether it's a job rejection or something else that you're applying to, always ask for feedback, even if you don't get it. Ask for feedback, because the feedback that rejection brings allows you to understand how you are presenting to the tech world. It's one thing to think certain things of yourself. It's another thing to learn how other people are thinking of you and viewing you as a result of how you present, how your resume presents, how your LinkedIn profile presents, how your portfolio presents. It's a different thing. And you want to care about how you present, because it is how you present that makes people say, oh, I want to talk with this person more, or I want to work with them, or I don't want to work with them, okay? So one of the gifts of rejection is feedback. Always ask for feedback. It doesn't matter if it's general or specific, or even if you don't get it. Form a habit of asking for feedback, okay? Another blessing of rejection, and I'm sure we've seen this on social media, is redirection. Sometimes rejection allows you to understand really where your strengths lie and where you need to focus on. Let me give an example from my job search. When I graduated coding bootcamp, the only skill I knew was React, Ruby, and forgive me, Ruby on Rails. I didn't know React. I didn't even know JavaScript. And so when I was applying for jobs, I tried to prioritize those jobs that had Ruby Rails as the first item in their tech stack. But that wasn't always possible. And so I would then apply to other jobs that required maybe some JavaScript or required React. Well, guess what? My rejection rate was much higher with those JavaScript-based jobs than the Ruby on Rails jobs. And so even though I didn't have that many jobs that had Ruby Rails as their first in their stack, I knew that my chances were much better in that category than other categories. So that's one of the ways that rejection can redirect you. Rejection can help you understand what your skill set is. Let me even say this. For some of us, we have chosen a path in tech that may not play to our natural abilities and our level of aptitude as much as we think. I have people in my network that started out coding but pivoted to cybersecurity because the process of rejection helped them understand that I'm actually better suited for this role. So we're still talking about rejection, but let me bring in another point. Flexibility is so important as you build your tech career. You cannot be too rigid in terms of what you choose to do. Because if what you've chosen to do doesn't blend well with your natural ability and your aptitude, you end up artificially putting yourself in a frustrating situation that you don't need to be in. Tech is huge. There are so many things we can do in tech. So do yourself the favor of having an alignment with what you've chosen to do in tech. Align it with who you are as a person and what you have the ability to learn. And rejection can help you understand that better. The key thing about rejection is you do not want to recoil when you are rejected. Actually, what you want to do in response to rejection is to lean forward, because rejection is a blessing. Rejection is a gift if you let it be that blessing and if you let it be that gift. Once rejection stops making you retreat and recoil, literally nothing can stop you. You will be flexible, you will pivot, you will pick up skills to fill in knowledge gaps that you may have identified. But the one thing you will never do again is quit. And so from today, make rejection your friend. Rejection is not an indictment on your worth as a woman in tech. Do not internalize it. When you internalize rejection, what you're doing is you're saying, I don't belong. I don't deserve. I am not able. And that is not the message of rejection. Rejection is just whatever specifically you were looking for or what you were applying to is either not right for you or is not right for you right now. And it's just that specific opportunity. But what we do is we are rejected from a specific opportunity, but we conclude, oh, tech is not for me. We go from a specific rejection and we apply a blanket conclusion to the rest of our lives. Let this be the day that you stop doing that. It's not necessary. Let rejection be the blessing and the friend that it can be to your tech career. So now you've gotten the job. I mean, amazing. You pop bottles, you're excited, you can't wait to get to work. Sometimes you don't even care about the money, although you should care about the money. But when you're first getting in, what you really crave is the validation of landing that role. And I understand that. That's how I was. I didn't really care what they were going to pay me, right? Whatever it was more than what I was making before. And so I was just excited to be there. One of the key pieces of advice that I have for women who have started their first tech role is, as much as you can, align with the people at your role and learn. Learn as much as you can. You're going to start out with simple tasks. You're going to start out with what you can do, but don't stop there. Show an interest in what the other techies are working on in the company or however you're working. Show an interest. Even if it feels like it's going over your head, even if it feels overwhelming, that you could never get to the point where you would understand what this is, make yourself available and expose yourself to those concepts. Because there are aspects in tech that you will never learn and never pick up until you are in the environment, you are in that mission critical, customer facing, live production environment. That is where you grow in ways that you cannot grow at bootcamp, you cannot grow solo learning. So expose yourself. Be willing to learn. Ask to sit in the meetings that may not directly relate to what you're doing, but just be in that environment to learn. Another thing I would advise is find mentors at your roles, but also find sponsors. And sponsors are people that speak for you in the rooms where decisions are made that you may not have access to. Networking doesn't stop when you get that role or when you get that job. In fact, networking has just begun. And so continue networking in your company. Continue networking with people that may not be in your company, but you meet them as a result of working where you're working. Keep networking. Let people know your ambition. Let people know what you want to be, where you want to go, and in what direction you want your career to grow. That is information that can attract sponsors into your career. Sponsors are people who, for example, make the case for your promotion in that decision-making room, make the case for a raise, make the case for you being the lead on a project, or you taking over an initiative that the company is planning. Those are the sponsors that you want in your corner, because 9 times out of 10, advancement in tech is by the word of sponsors. Okay, you do the work, you level up, you keep upskilling, you fill in your knowledge gaps, you build your subject matter expertise in the areas that you want. But at the end of the day, it is someone who has access to that decision-making room. You need that person to put your name on the table and say, this is who I think is ready. This is who I think deserves this opportunity. So that's a key part of building this rewarding career path in tech, is strengthening your network, particularly sponsors. Mentors help you with identifying what you can learn. They can be resources, they may have access to resources that you didn't know about. They are there for moral support. They keep convincing you that you can do it. But if a mentor is not in the decision-making room, then they are not a sponsor. And that is a distinction that I learned several years into my career. I didn't start my career knowing that. And so I just thought that everyone that was supportive and wanted to help me, that's all I needed. No, but there is a distinction. And so particularly as women and as Black women in tech, it is important that we build sponsors, not just mentors, because it is the sponsors that actually advocate for our advancement, and they have the authority to make it happen. Okay. Lastly, I would say that as you build your rewarding career path in tech, give back. It can be in little ways, it can be in huge ways. Everything is important. This is one of the reasons why I speak. This is one of the reasons why I accept appointments like this to speak. I have a community for techies called the Art Developer Circle. That's the reason I created it. Because at the end of the day, the more of us get into tech, the better it will be for all of us. So this isn't, this isn't a situation of I'm better than you or I've accomplished more than you. At the end of the day, when we all rise, then we are all better for it. And so regardless of where you find yourself, you may just be learning. Whatever you've learned, find someone to teach. Whatever you've learned, find someone to encourage who is learning that same thing. All the way up to you may be manager, right, or team lead at your job. Let's keep looking for ways to encourage and empower each other. If you can be a sponsor, be a sponsor. If you can be a mentor, be a mentor. If you can volunteer to demonstrate a skill or a competency in your tech field, do it. There are so many benefits. You learn to speak, public speaking. You learn to better express yourself. You improve your communication skills. But most importantly, you represent to someone else what is possible in their lives. A lot of times when you show up to advocate for women in tech, it's not so much what you're saying. People may not remember every detail of what you said, but just seeing you doing it is the inspiration that they need. They look at you and they conclude that if she can do it, I can do it as well. So at every stage of your career, look for ways to give back, look for ways to uplift and empower other women in tech, such as yourselves. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am proud of each and every one of you. I say congratulations, wherever you are in your journey, congratulations for making it that far. I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you the stars. I wish you the universe. Keep going. You belong in tech. You deserve to be in tech. You deserve this tech money. I'm so proud of you. Major thanks to SCAUnilag Africa, Unilag, SCAUnilag Africa, Medilag. Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations, congratulations. I love you all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the event. And I wish you the very best in all your tech careers. SCAUnilag Africa will let you know how to reach me. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. I do have a website, arit.dev, and you can get more information about me that way. I look forward to connecting with all of you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I hope you've actually learned one or two things from what our keynote speaker said. And I believe you would take one thing or two from what she said. So you can actually follow her on X. She's very popular on X at Arit Developer. That was posted on the screen and it would be posted on the chat box. You can follow her on X and on Instagram as well. And she has a website. So that will be posted on the chat box. Thank you all so much for attending this session. So the next session, we're moving on to the next session, which is the panel session. I trust we are ready for it. Stay tuned.
in the panel session, and we have two panelists for today's session, and I'm going to be introducing them right about now. The first speaker I'll be introducing is Mbauma. Mbauma is a seasoned DevOps engineer with a profound passion for leveraging technology to solve real-world problems. She is a co-founder of Arete, a pioneering NGO that is focused on empowering underprivileged children and youth through tech education. Omar's commitment to technology is fueled by a vision to bridge the educational divide and create a world where everyone has access to the learning resources they need to succeed in the digital age. Beyond her technical expertise, Oma is an avid reader, and through her writing, she demystifies complex technical concepts, making them accessible and comprehensible to a diverse audience. In her downtime, Oma is an enthusiastic anime fangirl and an avid reader, exploring worlds and ideas beyond the confines of reality. Thank you very much, Oma.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We couldn't hear you for a bit.
Oh, you could not. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please, where did
Yeah,
you? What was
I
the last
think
thing you had
after
me say,
introducing
please?
me,
After
after introducing
introducing
me,
you. Oh. So I want
yeah,
to quickly introduce Busola, his next panelist. So Busola Okeowo is a seasoned software engineer with over 6 years of experience specializing in backend development using Node.js and PHP. She is also proficient in UI design, utilizing tools like Figma to create stunning user interfaces. Then during I'm currently having network issues, but can you hear me now?
yes, we can hear you
Okay.
now.
How about now? Can you still hear me? Let me try
Yes,
adjusting my position. You can still hear me now.
yes.
Okay. So I'll move on to our questions very quickly. So first question will be going to Mbauma. So I would like to know, like, how do you navigate self-doubt and imposter syndrome in a tech field that can sometimes be very unforgiving?
Okay. So I think the first thing is not to doubt yourself, because I mean you are your first supporter. So if you're doubting yourself, that already puts you at a disadvantage. So what I do instead is, okay, I am sure of what I know. I'm open to learning more, and I'm also open to corrections. So instead of having doubts or maybe putting yourself down or talking down on yourself, just believe in yourself. You know this thing, you can do it. Even if you can't do it, you always ask for help from people and you'll be able to finish your way through it. Thank you.
True. True. Thank you. Thank you very much. So this next question will be going to Busola. Busola, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Okay, so piggybacking off what Mbauma just said, our next question would be, how did you build your self-confidence and your self-esteem, your inner validation? How are you able to do that as a woman in a tech field?
Um, well, I think it's just when you think you don't know something, I think you should find a way to know it so that you can know it and not feel like I don't know anything. Ask questions, and confidence is based on who you know you are. Who you know you are. Um, I haven't always been a confident person. I know that in secondary school I cried when I was asked to lead the assembly. So there has been growth over the years, and the more you do it, the better you are at it, I think. And even when you don't think that you're up to it, sometimes you just have to keep showing up to ensure that you don't miss the opportunities that come your way. You just have to keep showing up. I remember forcing myself to go out sometimes to just talk about something, as even as little as going to give testimony, you should just come out so that you can come out of your shell. And the more you do it, the better you are at it. So that improves my confidence. The more I do it, better I am at it.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And I think it's important that you mentioned, like, you stepping out of your comfort zone and making yourself do things that you would not normally do to help to build your self confidence. So the next question is still to you, Busola. So the question is, did you always know what area of tech you wanted to work in? And if not, how were you able to find your passion, find your niche?
Okay, I didn't know what I was doing when I started in tech. I remember Googling. I was in secondary school, SS2, and I thought I wanted to do architecture when I in university. But the school I went to, we didn't have a technical drawing teacher. So I was like, how are you going to do architecture without technical drawing? So I was like, okay, what do I like? What are the subjects I like? I remember Googling mathematics and computer science because those were my favorite subjects. And that was how I got introduced into tech. Well, it didn't start from there, but that was like when I started learning HTML and CSS in my SS2. And there are many stops because I was self-taught, learning what I can from YouTube and all the free resources online. And so I wasn't sure what I was doing for the first 3 years. Um, but finding a solution to a problem helped me find what helped me grow my skills and eventually decide, okay, I want to be doing this. So generally, I want to be building products. So it doesn't matter whether it's front end or back end, as long as I'm building products. Um, that's what I want to do. That helped me find my niche. The hackathons I participated in, just continue showing up, continue doing what you need to do, continue exploring. I know that if you follow the sector path, you go through a lot of tutorial hell from one tutorial to the other, sometimes you're like, what's going on? You don't even know what you're doing. But if you keep at it and you keep attending these meetups that of this tech meetup that you organize, you get to see more and you get to know your strengths and stick to what you know how to do best.
So thank you very, very much for answering that question well. I think you covered everything. So the next question is going to Mbauma. So the question is, how were you able to build influence and become a recognized expert in your field?
Oh, okay. Um, hmm, okay. So I think I'll just start with addressing my field. So I'm in the DevOps space, and when I started, I think I did not know a lot of women in the DevOps space. I did not even start out as a DevOps engineer. So I think one thing I know is people like to associate with someone who they feel knows what they are doing. So how can you become someone that people think they know what they are doing? It's like what Busala said, keep showing up. So you're learning, you're building in public, you are doing your best to like volunteer here and there, learning one or two things, networking. So it's just a whole lot of things you have to do. You need to show, but the first thing you need to do is you need to build yourself because you can't give what you don't have. So first things first, work on yourself, build yourself, get that knowledge. Then the next thing, you start networking with people, start building in public, you attend boot camps, talk about what you're doing online, and you just generally start churning out like articles or posts, engaging in Q&A sessions and all of that. So you get noticed. Yeah, I think that's one thing we should do, or that's one thing I did. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what I did. I mean, to get here. And I think another thing people can do is you're in a community. Don't just relax, like it's okay to be a floor member, yes, but maybe once in a while, maybe if they're saying, oh, we want to do something for people interested in cybersecurity, raise up your hand and try to volunteer for the event, to maybe get speakers or being on the planning committee or submit a talk or maybe do a demo or something. So when you keep on time, like time after time, you keep showing your competence in public, people will start noticing you. And when someone wants to like maybe reach out for help, or maybe they hear that someone needs help, you're like, okay, call this person. I believe she would have a solution to what we're facing. Yeah.
That's very nice. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. So the next question is going to Busola. So this question is about burnout. So how were you able to what strategies do you use to combat burnout, and how do you prioritize your well-being? Because we understand that being in the tech space can be very, very demanding, and you are constantly working on projects, constantly working on bringing out new products. And then how do you prioritize your well-being? How do you focus on yourself? How do you say, okay, creating your own me time, having time for your family and friends, having time for to work on your other personal goals? How are you able to do that?
Wow. I'm a workaholic, so I don't know if this is the right question for me, but I'm going to try because recently I've been trying to make sure that I create time to disconnect from my laptop and connect with real human beings. And generally, I think just have time blocks in the morning, whatever time you want to work. You know the necessary work hours you need to put in every day, and make sure that work time is for work time, and make sure that play time is for play time. You know that you can put in 8 hours of work today, so you start early. Once you are done, you are done, and as much as possible, try to finish everything that you can. And if you don't finish, you can continue tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day. And I know that there are times, there are deadlines where we have to put in extra work, but as much as possible, we should learn our limits. If I'm going to stay up all night in a week, I shouldn't do more than twice a week, and definitely not back to back. Else I'm going to fall sick because I will just break down and I'll burn out. And once I burn out, I won't be productive anymore. So if I'm going to stay up late to try to finish something, I try not to do more than twice a week so that I don't burn out.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Very quickly, I'm moving on to the next question, which is to Mbauma. So, our keynote speaker mentioned sponsorship and mentorship. So, we'd like to know in what ways have mentorship or sponsorship impacted your career trajectory? Did you
Please,
get
is the
my
question
question?
directed at?
It was directed to you.
Is the question? Oh, could you
Yes.
please repeat the question?
Okay. So I said like our keynote speaker mentioned sponsorship and mentorship, and then I would like to know how, in what ways have sponsorship or mentorship impacted your career trajectory?
Okay. Thank you. It has played a huge role in my career. Okay, so sponsorship. I believe we're talking about maybe having organizations create boot camps, give people resources to learn. Yeah, so things like that. And yes, SCA does that. And I have benefited from the cloud program especially. So the first cloud program SCA organized, I participated and I got to meet my mentor, and I connected with my mentor. So how did I get my mentor to notice me? On the group chat, like when we have our calls, because we were grouped into subgroups. So I always try to attend like all my team meetings, ask questions, submit assignments, do projects, try to go an extra mile in the project. And that was how he got to notice me. Then I think a few months down the line, he had a job opening and there was no way for him to reach me. So he reached out to one of the participants in my team then to reach out to me. So that is one way mentorship has helped. So I believe and also support our keynote speaker who said about mentorship. But I feel an extra thing you can do to get mentors, people that can speak for you, vouch for you, and all of that, is you need to show these people that, okay, give them a reason why they should vouch for you. Okay, we are in a community. I've most likely never met you before. I've never met most of my mentors before. Like, yeah, some of them, I've never met them before. Some I just met for the first time, maybe at a tech event. So with them, there has been communication, but I just got to meet them in real life, maybe at a tech event or something. So how would this person be able to vet you to know like, okay, it's okay for me to lay down my reputation because they are literally putting down their reputation for you. You have to show up. How can you show up? By doing your assignment, doing your project, building in public, talking, asking questions, still the same things. Because by doing those things, actually, like honestly, by doing those things, I have gotten to where I am right now. And my mentor calls me once in a while. I'm like, okay, I have a gig. Are you available? And I show up. So he has that confidence that okay, if he should hand a task to me, I can do it. So I'll need ladies to build themselves up, put themselves out there, and also reach out. Also, I think I also reached out to him during the mentorship period, telling him like, "Oh, okay, I'm interested in learning. This is my story," and he was even able to like give me advice and all that. So I feel building in public, building yourself, your capacity, and also reaching out to these people because you have to put in the work first. So before you reach out to this person, like, oh, could you mentor me? First, put in the work, and then you reach out to them. Because if you reach out to me, oh, can you mentor me? I'm like, okay, who are you? But if I've seen who you are, I've seen what you can do, and you reach out to me, mentor me, I can be like, okay, okay, maybe I don't have time. I can refer you to some other person, or I can give you 2 hours of my time daily or whatever. So yeah, that is how mentorship and sponsorship have actually played a role in my career. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next question is still going to you. And the question is, how were you able to build a strong professional network? And what advice do you have for other women in building a network of other women in tech to surround them as like a strong support system?
Okay. So my first set, or should I say my first line of network are my friends, literally. Because like maybe 2017, when everyone was still starting out in tech, they were my network. They were all I knew. And that's like talking with them was how I even got into tech myself. So then the next thing to do is when you attend all these like online learning programs, like all these boot camps, or maybe you see someone's work on Twitter, you interact with them, you tend to like share your ideas, interact with their LinkedIn posts, send them a message. That's how you build your network also. And when we go for events, that's why I always advice that okay, if you're going for an event, try to maybe submit for a talk, to give a talk at the event, or maybe to volunteer, because there people will see like, oh, okay, this person has given a talk, I want to hear what they said, or maybe this person volunteered, let me hear what they said. But like that also gives you like something to talk about today, because you can't just come and meet somebody like, oh, I'm networking with you. I mean, it's going to be, it sounds weird. So you also need to have your own backstory to share with the other person. So as we're exchanging backstories, we are indirectly or directly building our network. And my advice to women who want to build network is still the same thing. You need to put yourself out there. But before you put yourself out there, you need to first off build yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. So, and I think we should also start from smaller circles also. So maybe cloud people in cloud, you try to go for more cloud events, join cloud communities, try to be active there, attend meetings, ask questions, talk to the people there, and probably join their group chats. So like that, you start building your network. So and building network doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I must be close friends with all the people there. No, you are there to build a professional network. You bring opportunities, you exchange ideas, you build projects together, and you just keep everything professional. So please don't do anything unprofessional while building your network. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. So very quickly, I'm moving on to the next question that's directed to Busola. And the question is, have you had experiences navigating um, salary negotiations and promotions? And if yes, what tips can you share for other women in tech that are coming to know to be able to ask for Jawat when it comes to salary negotiations?
Um, well, I'm very skeptical about asking this question because I'm usually afraid of negotiations, but when you negotiate, you actually get more than they're offering. Because if they really want to work with you, many times they would actually give you what you're asking for. For them to offer you the job, they've seen value. So ask for what you're worth. Ask for what you want. Um, beyond salary negotiations, I've also done a few freelance work. And you tell the clients that this is the price, and they're like, it's quite expensive. Can you bring it down? When you consider the work, the sleepless night you're going to put into it, and you finish the work. I mean, I've done that several times. Feel like this money does not match the effort I've put in. So why shortchange yourself? Then it will not eventually feel like, why are they stressing you? So why not just negotiate the actual price? If they don't want to work with you, that's fine. Go ahead and work with the next person.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Cynthia, the same question also goes to you. Like, have you had experiences with salary negotiations, and what tips do you have to share?
Oh, okay. So I'm actually also skeptical when it comes to talking about money. But now, money is important to please. So for my current job, I had a call with the CEO to discuss about money. But over the call, I just kept saying yes, yes, yes. I'm fine with everything. Yes, yes, I'm fine with everything. Then I went back. I'm like, oh no, I don't think I'm fine with everything. No. Then I sent a mail that I just sent a mail that oh, can't work. I can't work with that price. And then he scheduled another call. So I think one thing is probably some people like me now are not like really comfortable or very, very confident to talk like over calls for money. So what I did was in my email, I just like wrote all my points down why I cannot accept that price and why I'm giving them a new price. And so over the call, I didn't have to say much. I just had like a very short discussion with him, and he already understood why I was asking for more. So I think you just find what works for you, and your reasons are valid. Your don't doubt yourself. Like Busola said, they need you. They would hire you. And if they don't hire you, you would find a better place of employment. So one thing is, I think you should also negotiate for your worth. Some can be like, oh, how do I know what I'm worth? I think just calculate your necessary expenses in a month and just add something on it, and then give it to them. Another thing you can do is to have a range, like okay, maybe the company said, oh, they'll give you maybe 200, but then you're like, no, maybe my range is between maybe 300, 400, maybe last, I'll just take maybe 250, that kind of thing. So yeah, but doesn't mean you call 250. You can call like 300 or maybe 350, and then you guys start discussing. And please, money is important. Don't be shy to talk about money. And yeah, I think you should also like try to find valid points to give them why you are worth that price. You can cite maybe your certifications, the project you've worked on, quality of your work that you do as reasons why you feel and maybe your years of experience also. So I think those are like valid reasons to put to them why you can't work with that price they are offering. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think I would also be using the stating everything in a mail part, because I've also had an experience where I was just like agreeing to everything. I'm like, this one is small. So yeah, I'll do that next time. Thank you very much for sharing. So we're on to our last set of questions now, and would like to ask: do you have any personal? Have you had a personal experience where the question is going to the both of you? So do you have a personal experience where you had to um overcome a specific barrier in tech? That is like a specific barrier, maybe as a young person or as a woman specifically in tech, a barrier that you've had to overcome in your tech journey, and what advice would you give to other young women that can be facing such similar challenges in their various tech fields? So who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Okay, Busola, you go first since
Okay,
Ibama just. Oh,
let me
okay,
go
okay.
first.
Yes, oh yeah.
All right. So I think as a woman in tech, they say women in tech a lot, and maybe some people have received a narrative that a woman in tech is disadvantaged because there are not many women there, but you are not actually. You're actually not. Maybe because I grew up with boys, I didn't see the difference. Like I was shocked when people were shocked that I knew how to write code. Like, why are you shocked? What's the big deal? Like it's a skill that anybody can learn, right? I mean, why is it shocking you? So when they say, you write code, wow. So it was one of the reasons why my Instagram handle became She Writes Code, because I need everybody to know that I write code and deal with it if you have a problem with it. So basically at my workplace, I realized that I have value that I'm bringing to the table. So there is no difference between me and the guy, as long as we are, except the value that we bring. And if I bring more value than you, definitely I'll get paid higher than you. Doesn't matter whether I'm a male or a female. As long as I have that understanding, then I know that there are scenarios where somebody wants to change you for whatever reason that they have, and that's their personal problem. If you're not comfortable with it, if you discuss it and there's no change, I think you can move on to a better place. You deserve everything. You're worth the the money you put on your value that you give to any business.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Mbama, you can go next.
Okay, thank you for that question. So at the places I've worked and with the clients I've worked with previously, I haven't really encountered any barriers. Instead, people have really been supportive, and yes, I was given the what's the English? I was given freedom to work the way I wanted to, and whenever I asked for help, I always got help. But at this there was this place I worked at I worked there like a very, very brief period of time because there are too many red flags there. So there was this particular guy, but it was a diverse team. So I think how would I think? So it's a company, but it has like three different teams there, and I was like, I just came in for a short project, but the project had to like include engineers from the three teams. So I was basically working for like three teams, but as a DevOps engineer. So there was this particular guy in one of the teams who always made it look like I did not know what I was doing. Anytime I say something or I do anything, we always find faults in it. You always question it. And I'm always like, okay, why is it always this guy? Because I'm working with other guys, there are other guys on the team and they're all engineers and they're cool with me and I don't have issues with them. So there was this last incident that happened and it was about pushing code to GitHub. So in the company, they had like a set of rules, branch protection, setup, and everything. And I came in, I met that rule. I just revised it a bit. I sent out a memo to all the teams and their team leads that, oh, this is the new changes. I sent it twice actually. So this guy just comes one day on the group chat and is like, oh, he can't push. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't push? And it's like, oh, it was like the branch protection you set up is making me not to push. Do you know what? And I'm like, so I did not reply him because I'm like, okay, this guy is like, like he's looking for trouble again. And I'm like, so are you trying to say I don't understand GitHub? Like, after how many years of working in tech, I try to say I don't understand GitHub. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know the words to use or to say at that point, so I just ignored everything. So it turns out when we tried to rectify the issue, he so what the guy did was he called me. So he was like, oh, I should come to their workspace, and I did not want to go, but the HR was like, oh, I should go. So that's why I went, because I knew there was no issue there. I mean, I had sent out a memo twice already. He just didn't read it. That's the first issue. That was the first issue. And then when I got there, he was talking to. So I was there, but he was talking to a colleague about what he was supposed to be talking to me about. And I just left him alone. I didn't say anything. I didn't say that. I was just pressing my phone. And then he kept explaining to his colleague. So the thing was, you can't push to development branch. You have to, for you to like push your code to development branch, you have to open a PR. But he was trying to push directly, so it wasn't working for him. And earlier, I had checked to ensure he had like right access to the branch, and he had. And I said it on the group, you have right access. So what exactly do you mean by you can't push? I mean, normally you could have sent a screenshot that, oh, this is what I'm saying. I don't understand or something. But he did not do any of that. He just kept saying that what I did was making him not to push. And at the end of the day, his colleague, another guy, then told him that, oh, what, that he's doing the wrong thing. I mean, that this is not how to do it. Like, this is how to do it. And I just stood up and left. So that was the first time I experienced something like, and I was very, very appalled. I was like, okay, so at the end of the day, he was embarrassed, but what did he hope to gain out of it? To show like I was incompetent or what? I mean, I think most the notion people have is women in tech, they don't interview women, that you just come, you enter the company, you start paying them big money. And I'm like, even the boot camps are tedious because there are nights where I had to stay up just to be able to finish a project and submit. And I went through the interview process like everybody else. So if the company or the hiring people did not find me worthy of the role, they wouldn't give it to me. They would have picked other people. So I honestly, my advice is just know, as I keep saying, women should know their job. Like you should be able to stand up and defend like, okay, this is the job I did. This is why I did it. And this is it. I know what I'm doing. This is how to do it. So when people are like castigating you, like, oh, it's not working, it's broken, this, that, you'll be able to correct them. And people should be more kind to themselves first of all. I believe what people do to you just shows how they treat themselves. So people should be more kind to themselves so they can extend kindness to other people, especially in the workplace, because you don't know what people are going through, like at home or in their personal lives. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was the only barrier I faced, and that's how I attended to it. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And I think that everyone on the call, I've learned a lot of things, not even one or two things. I've learned from you, I've learned from Busola also. And so, thank you. Do we have any questions? If you have any questions, kindly drop them in the chat box so that our speakers can attend to them quickly. If you have questions, let me check if there are any questions. Oh, okay. Someone shared something in the chat box earlier this week. A colleague of mine tried to blame me for not informing him of a protocol that was and is always announced in our Monday stand-up meetings. I just told him straight up that this was mentioned in the stand-up meeting and he should basically take responsibility for his forgetfulness. Yes, that is very good. I don't know why some people behave like that, but big ups to you for setting him straight. So, do we have any questions for our panelists? Questions, please. I don't think there's any. But of course, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat box, and they would attend to it. And I think with that, we've come to the end of our panel session. Thank you very much to our panelists for taking their time to be here with us and to share from their wealth of experiences how they've been successful in their careers. We've learned about how to build our network, learned about the barriers they face and how to overcome them if we face such. We've learned about building influences, navigating for salaries, building our self-confidence, and I want to say a very big thank you for sharing with us. And I hope that you continue to grow and in your various careers. Oh, okay, there's a question. There are two actually. Okay, how do you deal with egocentric male bosses? Now this one is your boss, not even a colleague. So, is there anybody that wants to take that question, please?
Okay, I can try. But
Okay.
I haven't exactly experienced that. So I think egocentric people, they just want to be the star of the show. So you let them. That's all I can say. I mean, for your peace of mind, just let them do whatever they're doing. Maybe if you're sharing your screen and they're like, oh, stop sharing, let me share my screen, let me show. You just let them do whatever thing they want to do. And when they're tired, they'll stop. That's what I would say. I feel maybe probably there's better advice elsewhere. You can talk to like more people who have been in the industry for like more number of years. But left to me, I'll just let them do whatever they want to do as long as my work is not affected. So another thing you can do is always do your best. Like always do your best work. Give it a presentation, give it your best. If you're pushing code, push the best code. So when they start talking and trying to find fault, and they always do it in public, everyone will then see how they are fully. People will just see their fully and know that nah, this guy is up to no good. Yeah. So just keep being yourself, doing your best, and let them do whatever they want to do. And yeah, and you can and pray too. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I hope that has answered your question, Uche. So the next question, please, for someone that wants to venture into tech, what are the areas or the steps or the step-by-step measures to take for starters? For someone that is starting out in tech, does anybody want to take that? Okay.
Okay. Um, I think you should decide what kind of tech you want to do and how do you decide and look at your current skill sets. What are things you already enjoy doing and how can they be applied in tech and start from there, right? It's easier to do it when it's something you enjoy doing. If you enjoy art, maybe you should try product design, right? There are already some principles that you have in your mind with you that you can use to do the work of product design. So you're not starting exactly from scratch, and you can move up quickly. Then once you find that thing that you want to do, I think the next step is to ensure that you begin to work towards it. You continue practicing, practice every day, practice like your as much as possible. I mean, your free time, use it wisely to practice this skill that you want to learn so that you can become good at it. And once you are good at it, you can begin to apply for jobs, volunteer, like Uma has shared. She has shared that you should volunteer. That's the only way you meet people that will move you forward. For someone who is self-taught like me, attending the Microsoft Lead 2019 hackathon was a hackathon for females, and happened to be in the team that came first place. And just because of that event, I was with the likes of Hope. Hope was the first GDSC lead in Unilag, I think. And I saw them working with Laravel. I never heard of Laravel before, but I've worked with PHP before. And because of that, mainly I got home, I went back, I went to go and learn the Laravel, and I built a whole app with it for one of my dad's businesses before moving on to learn Vue.js for front end. So those things, as you get exposed to those events, go for events and those opportunities to volunteer, you keep seeing things that you don't know, you keep practicing and you keep getting better. So I hope that helps.
I hope that has answered your question. So with that, we've come to the end of our panel session. Thank you once again to our panelists. And so now we'll be moving on to the other session, which is our networking session. And that is going to be happening on Zoom. Okay, okay. Right on the Zoom. Sorry, good evening, everyone. Okay, so it's time for the networking section. So please, can we go to the Zoom link that was sent to your mail, or you can see the Zoom link on the chat box. So you can click on it and go and join. We're about to start networking section as well as the game section. So see you on Zoom.